live stream last year, I just was like completely useless. I was like, oh, you can upload graphics in the middle of a live stream? PJ's like, yes. I was like, whoa.
Welcome to another episode of Boom or Bust the Draft Show. Max Chadwick alongside Nick Merriam and Donny Clemons. We are getting so close to the 2022 NFL Draft, which we have been building up for an entire year now, honestly.
Yeah.
And so you know what? We're going to do a mock draft, and we're not going to do our regular, first round mock draft. We have a full 3-round mock draft for you guys. Our first time doing a 3-round mock draft, all 105 picks. And for all you Rams fans out there, you're included in this as well. All 32 teams will be included in this mock draft. So how we're going to do, we're not going to do like pick by pick like we did before. We're going to go team by team and look like their first 3 rounds and who they got with those picks. We didn't do any trades in this mock draft. And again, this is what we would do if we were in charge of those teams. Next week, we're going to do a mock draft of what we think will happen in the first round of the NFL draft. But please like and subscribe to our channel. Turn on notifications. Be sure to follow our Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at Boomer Bust Draft. We're on YouTube and anywhere you get your podcast. So like, subscribe, rate us 5 stars. Check out the merch store. And I'm going to leave this to Nick and Donnie. A lot of you have been asking us about a live draft show. What are our plans for draft night and the entire draft weekend? I'm going to let them take it away.
So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing a live draft show, but the problem is we all live kind of far away from each other.
Just a bit.
Just a little bit.
We're not all in Syracuse anymore. All of us
Unfortunately.
I was never. The funny thing is I'm on the further away side from Syracuse. I'm basically like 10 minutes away from Nebraska. But anyway, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing a virtual live draft show, kind of what we do in the videos, except we'll be live. So we're going to be going live on YouTube. We all will give it a couple of shout outs as well for the future, but we just want to let you guys know now that's what we're going to be doing because we all live pretty far away from each other. So we're going to be streaming it on YouTube. You'll get our reaction to all the picks of the draft. It's going to be fun, and let's hope Trayvon Walker doesn't go number 1 overall. And if he does, that'll be great content because 2 of us here might not survive after that. But we're all looking forward to it. We're really, really excited. At least I am. I know you guys did it last year, and I did it through TikTok last year, and it looked so much fun. So that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be doing it on YouTube virtually, and you'll see our reaction pick by pick, and some will be good, some will be bad, and Jacksonville hopefully doesn't take another running back.
So Nick and Donnie will be going live on YouTube. I unfortunately will be away for the draft. I will be in Cincinnati working at PFF, not doing anything. I'm not going to be on the live draft show. I'm not going to be on the live draft show. So if you're like, wow, Max on PFF, no, I'm going to be working in their social.
He's getting the cloud.
Yeah, I'll be telling Mike and Austin my draft takes. I'm actually staying at their place during it, so I'll be screaming my takes to them the whole time. But it's bittersweet because it'd be cool being with Eric at PFF, but also I've been with you guys forever, and I want to be there with you guys because we've been building up to this, and there's nothing I'm gonna have to be tweeting out my draft takes, not even anything else. So maybe I'll be texting you guys and saying, hey, tell the people that I think this or something like that. I don't know, but I am so pumped. I'm really pumped for you two. I think you guys are gonna do an awesome job, and stay tune in for that because it is going to be a awesome. Last year's draft was awesome in terms of the talent. This year's draft's gonna be awesome in terms of we don't know what the hell is gonna go on in that draft.
Absolutely not.
This is going to be a really, really interesting draft. So make sure you guys tune in on YouTube. So let's get to this. Actually, before we get to the mock draft, one more thing. WinView. Okay, you got to get WinView. If you don't have it yet, I don't know what you are doing because WinView is a new way to bet on sports, and especially the NFL draft coming up. They're going to have some hot props, I think, coming out for the NFL draft. NBA playoffs are going on right now. Which I used a ton last night, especially with the Nets-Celtics game. That's going to be a great series. You got to get WinView. If you don't have WinView, I don't know what you're doing. You can bet on singular events live during games, like will Jason Tatum hit this free throw? Will this next pick be a quarterback? Anything like that. WinView will have stuff like that on their app. So all you have to do to sign up is click on the link in our description or in our pinned comment. Become a part of the new way to bet on sports today with WinView. So let's start with this mock draft. And the first overall pick is the Jacksonville Jaguars, and here is all 4 of their first 3-round picks. You got Aiden Hutchinson, Jahan Dotson, Daniel Falele, and Channing Tindall. And I made 2 of these picks. I made the Aiden Hutchinson and Channing Tindall pick. I kind of like this haul for the Jaguars. You know, the Daniel Falele pick by Donnie at 65, although it was a little high for him. Okay. He's kind of been falling on my board a little bit, but overall, like, you got to take Aiden Hutchinson first overall. You got a good receiver in Jahan Dotson at the top of the second round, which I like a lot. Channing Tindall, they need they underratedly really, really need help at linebacker. And I think it's worth taking at 70. Like, they have so many other needs and at more valuable positions that I wouldn't take it anything higher. But, like, getting Channing Tindall at 70, like, I think that's a very, very good value. So, pretty good haul for the Jaguars here.
So with the Lions, who they took, they have a few picks. So I gave them Malik Willis with the 2nd overall pick. Yes, I did it. I love the fit. They are the only team in the top 10 that if they took Malik Willis, I would be so in on. Because the Lions have something that most bad teams don't have. A good offensive line and I wouldn't say a good head coach, but he's a player's coach, and he's a coach he's a coach that people want to play for. The reason I don't say he's good is because he's not really proven yet, but he's a coach that people want to play for, which is all that really matters at the end of the day. And then I gave them Roger McCreary with pick 32. They need corner. Jeff Okudah has not been that guy so far, but hopefully he can bounce back after, I believe, tearing his ACL in the training camp, so we bounce back from that. Max gave them Boye Mafe at pick 34. I thought that's a really, really good pick. I've been liking him a lot more ever since I rewatched him. Thank you, Max, for telling me more about him. I like him a lot. He's a really, really good pass rusher. He's absolutely useless in the run defense, but it's a pass rushing league now, so I'm obviously cool with it. Tested as a freak athlete, and he's going to be I think he'll be great in the NFL. He has a high ceiling. And then Nick gave them Jalen Tolbert in the 3rd round. I think this is a good pick. I think this is really good value. You're getting, in my opinion, either a top 10 or borderline top 10 wide receiver later in that round. If you know anything about this wide receiver class, it is loaded. This is a loaded wide receiver class, especially when it comes to depth. There may not be like that Jamar Chase, Jerry Jeudy, any of those guys in this class, but the depth, I'd argue, is better in this year's draft than last year's draft, I'd argue. But it isn't as top heavy, so getting a guy like that in the 3rd round is an absolute steal. And then Max took, in my opinion, my favorite pick so far, and that's Brandon Smith. I love this pick. It's so good. You get a freak athletic coverage linebacker in the late 3rd round who probably won't be starting with you right away, but if anyone's going to develop him, I think Dan Campbell can be that guy. So yeah. I think that's a great haul for the Lions. So you got Malik, Roger McCreary, Boye Mafe, Jalen Tolbert, and the greatest linebacker ever, Brandon Smith.
That's good value for him. Like, I don't know if I would go much higher.
Yeah, it was.
And, like, I kind of like that.
I take him around 2. I know that's obviously very unpopular.
Yeah, it's a little riskier for me. But this is like, you know what? Take a flyer.
Getting him right here is excellent value.
They will spend one of these 5 picks on a linebacker. They didn't last year early, and I think this year they will. Moving on to the Texans, who are picking 3rd as we go team by team here. I had the first pick for Houston. I took Kyle Hamilton with the 3rd pick. I don't know that they actually will go this way. We discussed earlier with kind of the Patriots connections with that front office. They might think about taking a safety here, and I still think it would be a great pick if they did. I'm still on that Kyle Hamilton train. I haven't moved him down on my board at all. I still love him, and I think this is a team that just needs talent. Would love to have one of the best players in the draft, regardless of the position. Max then goes with Treylon Burks at pick 13. A little bit of a reach for me, but you know what? They just need receivers. I think they really badly do, and I think they need to find out what Davis Mills is this year. Depending on how that offense looks, I don't know that it matters necessarily what you get in there as a times a receiver type. It's just, can the guy catch the ball from Davis Mills? And I think Treylon Burks certainly does give them an upgrade on the outside, as does Wan'Dale Robinson at pick 68, which again is also a little early for me, but Donnie took him there. Another guy who I think adds some dynamism.
Yeah, I think it works.
Yeah.
To the offense there. Pick 37, I love Abraham Lucas, the tackle. I think that's a great spot. If the Texans can get a tackle at pick 37 this draft, unless they really flub the rest of the picks, is going great for them. They obviously need tackle help. I know they took Titus Howard a couple years back. He's been fine. Lucas, to me, has a high floor as a pass protector for them. And that, again, gives Davis Mills a chance to show something this year, and if he's not the thing, then they move on to someone else. And then we go defense again in the 80th pick here late in the 3rd round with Cameron Thomas, who I think fits that scheme nice. He's a guy who I think can rotate a little bit and play multiple positions from San Diego State. Certainly has a projectable ceiling to be a long-term starter for them opposite of John Greenard.
Yeah, and the Lucas pick I made, also because Larry Tunsil got a left tackle and Lucas played right tackle, so you got that. Just kick him right into right tackle, be easy. And Traylon Burks too, in my wide receiver 1 right now, which I know is high for a lot of people. I don't know. I just see AJ Brown. I that's all I see is AJ Brown whenever I watch Traylon Burks. So it's tough to get that image out of my head.
I took Wandale, by the way, early, and this is definitely a reach for me as well. But the reason I took him there was because I think they need a wide receiver like that. Like
Yeah,
I think
slot receiver.
you need a gadgety slot wide receiver, especially in today's NFL. I feel like, and he
Yeah.
would be absolutely perfect for them. Like if Sky Moore was there, which he's not going to be, and I would prefer Wandale over Kyle Phillips, and I'd also prefer him over a couple other slots. So he produced in the SEC. I know he's small. He's like 5'2". I get that, and he didn't really test great athletically. I understand that, but I just think you need this type of wide receiver, and you're not going to have a pick until later, and he could possibly go by then. So I'm a believer in go get a guy you really need for a scheme fit.
Yeah.
As long as it's not a crazy reach. And I don't think that's a crazy reach.
No, he's like 5'8". Yeah, and he tested like 74th percentile. It's just the size is an issue. But again, I took Traylon Burks. They got Nico Collins too. Like that's why I was hesitant on Burks. It's like they already
just think about that 5 wide though, empty gun like Burks, Wandale, Brevin Jordan, Brandon Cooks, and Nico Collins. There is not a similar type of receiver there. Like they're all different.
No, they're all, and that's perfect. That is perfect.
Yeah. Exactly. All right. The Jets, who actually have a ton of picks in the top, they have 4 top 40 picks right now, and so they have Kayvon Thibodeau, who I have going to them at number 4. I think this is actually what's going to happen on draft night. This is what we would do. I actually have Kayvon Thibodeau. If I had the 2nd overall pick in the draft, I was going to send him to the Detroit Lions. And I know there's a report Dan Campbell does not like him at all. I don't know how much I believe that. Might be a smokescreen. I moved Kayvon Thibodeau up. I think he's going to end up being my number 2 overall player in this draft. I'm a huge fan of Kayvon Thibodeau's game. Another value pick for me was at 10, where the Jets need a corner, and I was thinking about Derek Stingley Jr., but I couldn't pass up Thibodeau. Well, you get a guy who's top 5 probably on my board in Sauce Gardner, my CB2 in this draft, and I think would fit that Robert Saleh scheme really well. You saw how good Richard Sherman was with Saleh in San Francisco, and I'm not saying that Sauce Gardner is Richard Sherman. That's what Donnie is saying. But what I am saying is that Sauce Gardner.
They don't even play the same, man. They don't even play the same.
But the length, I think
lazy Max, lazy.
The length is very similar, which is why I think that Sauce Gardner would be a home run fit for Robert Saleh in that defense. After that, Donnie took Daxton Hill, which I love too. I love Daxton Hill at 35. Just
Whitehead.
Build up that secondary, man. I love that. And Alec Pierce, another pick I love by Donnie. Actually, man, I don't know if I love. I'm a little lower on Alec Pierce than a lot of people. I understand why you'd take him this high because that athletic upside is absolutely there with Alec Pierce. So I'm a little lower on him, but I understand people who have him high. And then Kellen Diesch, which I thought was a fantastic pick by Nick at 69. That is a very, very good value. I have Diesch, I believe, as my OT 7 in this draft, I want to say. I'm going to look right now. Yeah, he is my OT 7 in this draft. So it's a really good value at the top of the 3rd round for a team that, could realistically take an offensive tackle at 4 or 10, but instead you get really good value at offensive tackle, which you don't really get a lot with Kellen Diesch in the 3rd round.
Agreed. Okay, so with the Giants up next, with the 5th pick, I gave them Akeem Ekwonu, my tackle 1 in this draft, and I think you kind of need to get a guy like that. I think you need to get a guy who can throw it right tackle and make Saquon happy because his offensive line throughout his entire career has been bad. And is he ever going to go back to what he was? Probably not, and it's unfortunate because of all those injuries, but he can still be a very good back in the league, and you got to get him soft offensive lineman to help him. Max gave them Derek Stingley Jr. at 7. I would love this pick. It's not going to happen, but I would absolutely love this pick for them. They need corner. They're most likely, by all reports, they're going to most likely cut James Bradbury because apparently he's not even showing up or not planning on showing up to any of the workouts whatsoever. So it sounds like if they don't find a trade partner, they will cut him. Nick gave them Matt Corral at 36, which is just the best ever. I love that so much. It's gonna piss off Giants fans.
It's gonna start week 1.
Yes, he will start week 1.
I
and he
love
should.
that pick. That would be a hot pick.
Can we just sit here and just think for a second? What if Matt Corral gets taken in the 2nd round and he starts
those receivers are good. Let's do it. Let's go.
Let's go.
I'm down. Yeah, I'm down.
Giants, but it would work. Matt Corral RPOs to Kadarius Toney, who's just housing 80-yard slants. Like, let's
Oh
do
yeah.
it. Like,
Oh yeah. Oh, I love that.
And then throw 50-50s to Galladay, and hopefully he can.
I mean, you saw how good Elijah Moore was. Like, I'm not saying Tony's like that, but like, I am.
Tony's
I'm a
on.
big
Tony's
fan.
on. You could say Tony's like more talented than Elijah Moore.
That's what I'm
too.
saying. Like that kind of
it.
receiver,
No,
like
definitely.
Corral loves, and so yeah, I think it'd be great.
We don't talk about it on the show because we just like don't talk about regular season stuff. But Tony's like first game where he fully played against Dallas, where he goes for 190 and then punches someone and gets ejected, was just like peak television.
Yeah.
Like unreal.
He had like 2 week span where he had like 400 yards or something like that. It was like, I was like, oh my god,
Like,
and then he disappeared after that.
Yeah, he had like 1 or 2 fantastic games, and then he was just nowhere to be seen after. Max gave Sam Williams to the Giants at 67. A bit of a reach for me, but they do need edge, so I'm not completely against it. And I also think it's a pretty good scheme fit. So once again, not gonna hate it at all.
Another Rebel.
And a Rebel, yeah. And then Giants at 81. Nick gave them Chad Mumo, which I think is a really big steal in my opinion. I mean, you're getting possibly a top 7 linebacker in the draft in the late 3rd round, and linebackers in position that they desperately need. So yeah, I'm all in for it.
I don't know that the Giants would bring any Wyoming kids into the big city of New York, though. So that's I mean, that's something I would do, but I just don't know that they would do it. But
That'd be funny.
You know what? I think that's overrated, honestly, but especially if you're a linebacker. But it seems to me, if you look at their draft history, they don't really take kids from non small schools from smaller towns, which I don't know. There might be a connection. I don't know. It's just my way of looking at things. But moving along, the Panthers, they have the 6th pick, and they have the 137th pick. So they don't have any other picks in this video. The rumor is
shout out Sam Darnold.
The rumor is they really want to try and trade down. They could be the team with Pittsburgh if Pittsburgh goes from.
They should. They really should trade down
because they don't have picks. I mean, they gave away all their picks for Sam Darnold and C.J. Henderson, which they were in win now mode last year for real, man.
They did do that. I forget he exists. Oh my
it's wild stuff from Carolina. Really, just big brain. So now that they've stuck with this one pick, and we have them taking Charles Cross, the tackle from Mississippi State. That was my pick. I think he'd be their starting left tackle in the future for a while and would protect whoever's playing quarterback. But realistically, I don't know how much it does for them. So yes, we didn't do trades in this video, but they desperately
need to trade down.
They need to trade down.
This is as much as I love this pick, it's not a good situation even so.
No, and Matt Rule is fighting for his job right now, so you gotta get a lot of impact players in there, not just the left tackle. All right, the 8th pick now, the Atlanta Falcons. So Donnie took Garrett Wilson with the 8th overall pick, which I love. They need a receiver. You look at that receiver room right now. I understand they're one of the worst teams in the league, but that is still a joke that they're trying that out right now because you lose Calvin Ridley for the season. He's suspended for gambling. So get a Garrett Wilson in there, who's actually a lot like Calvin Ridley, in my opinion, but I think it would be great in Atlanta. He's a very high floor receiver, might be the highest floor receiver in this draft. It's a debate I have a lot. At 43, I thought this was good value for the Falcons. David Ajabo, the edge, they haven't had a good edge, and I can't even tell you when the last time they had a good edge. I mean, Vic Beasley had that one good year, and then after that he stunk, and it was like, all right, they need an edge.
Did they get John Abraham or something? Was that them?
Maybe, yeah. I'm trying to think right now. Yeah, John Abraham, maybe a couple years there. David Ajabo, though, this is a guy who you can't really be planning on him to make much of an impact his rookie year. But then again, who cares for Atlanta? They suck. They stink. They're not thinking about 2022. They should be looking at a lot of these guys that maybe have injury concerns and say, I don't care. Let's get him in here. Jameson Williams, you don't want to trade back? Let's get him. I don't care if he doesn't make an impact year one. This is a team that legitimately could be in the Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud sweepstakes.
Oh, they will be. Oh, they'll be in that. They
might be. I mean, they're up there. They might be one of the 5 worst teams. They are one of the 5 worst teams.
Yes, they are.
Heading into next year.
Arguably one of the 3.
Yeah,
I would say
honestly, they're really bad. So they should not be thinking, oh, we got to get impact players now. No, man, get the best player regardless of anything. David Ajabo would have been a first-round pick. So I like that. Jalen Petrie, I took him too to Atlanta. Again, this is just a safety / corner. Just get impact players. The team needs doesn't really matter at this point. You just got to get good players in that locker room. Zion McCollum, Donnie took at 74, the corner from Sam Houston State, literally the most athletic, or tied with Byron Jones for the most athletic corner that we've ever seen according to Kentley Platt's relative athletic score. He was phenomenal at the combine. He's got a lot of people who start putting higher and higher on their board. So I don't hate this. Again, this is a ceiling pick for them at 74, which this is like a worthwhile investment, like a Brandon Smith for the Lions, like Zion McCollum. Hey, what if he turns out good? And Jamar Sawyer, I took at 82. They need help on the interior offensive line, I think, as well. And Sawyer is just a high floor player. I think he will be a starter in the NFL. Will he ever be like a really, really good guard in the league? Probably not, but he could play center. He could play guard, maybe even a pinch play him at tackle, where he played at Georgia, and he played really well there. But I just think Atlanta just needs starters, man. You really just need starters
everywhere.
And you need to create what their goal should be in this draft is create a good, at the best situation that you can for 2023 when Bryce Young or CJ Stroud or whoever is going into Atlanta. So do not worry about 2022. You got to be
Tanner Mordecai.
all in. Yeah.
So up next, we have Seattle. And so for the 9th pick, Nick gave them Evan Neal, which is great value. They obviously need an offensive tackle. And you're going to get one here. You're going to get a potential superstar plus, I would argue, with how high his ceiling is. I mean, we've been hyping this guy up. The media has. We've been hyping this guy up for the longest time. And he's most likely going to deliver at the end of the day. So that's what you're looking at here. Kenny Pickett at 40, I kind of unironically really love from Max out there. As the biggest Drew Lock fan on the planet, Drew Lock is not very good, which is unfortunate, but he's just not. And I know they re-signed Geno Smith, so maybe it'd be like, ooh, that quarterback room can get a little toxic, or maybe not toxic, but questionable to say the least. But I think you just gotta go get someone. Like, you're in a division with the Cardinals, the Niners, and the Rams that all have potential, or not potential, they all have the quarterbacks. You know, the Rams have Stafford, Niners have Lance, and the Cardinals have Murray. So you gotta go after a guy, especially after getting rid of Russ.
Did you comp Kenny Pickett to Drew Lock too? So you get two
I did.
Lock in the locker room?
Yeah, I did.
Here we go.
Yeah, I did. Which, by the way, it looks worse and worse by the day, and I made a lot of people.
I don't know. I'm lowering Kenny Pickett on my board too, so I don't know.
I mean, I have him about this range. He's like number 37 on mine, so I don't know.
I was thinking like just draft him second round. If he's not good, who cares? Draft a quarterback again. Like, it's not like you're investing
fair.
like a major
pick right after it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, but up next with Seattle, I give them Andrew Booth. I think this is great value. I think he's a first-round pick at this point, and you're getting him here at 41. You need corner. Your secondary stinks, and you're in a division with Debo, DeAndre Hopkins, and Cooper Kupp. All of them are arguably top 5 in the league. I wouldn't put them all top 5, but they all have a case with how many good receivers are. So you got to get a corner, and you got one right there. Nick gave them DeMarvin Leal at 72. I like this a lot. You got to get an edge rusher because your pass rush is not good, and it's probably the worst in the division. So, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, they're just not a great team. And I would argue if everything does not go right for them, which I have a feeling it's not going to, this is another team that could be in the Bryce Young, CJ Stroud sweepstakes next year.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I actually think this haul we gave Seattle is one of the better draft hauls in the team. I just think there's value at every pick here. And quite frankly, I think in a scenario where you have Evan Neal in that O-line, it has a higher floor. Rashad Penny, I like. Kenny Pickett throws the ball to those receivers, like a floor at least in a passing game. You got a couple more players on defense. I could see a scenario in a weak NFC where this team with these added 4 players could win 8 or 9 games and sneak in as a wild card.
Like a Michael Bennett role for DeMarvin Leal too, like an edge D tackle hybrid. I
think he would work in Seattle. I think if they come away with something like this, it's a big win for the Seahawks. Yeah, of that haul.
I agree.
I don't know that they will come away with something like that, just knowing their draft history. You know,
I can't wait to see what the 9th overall pick is. It's going to be
Dwayne Eskridge, Jordan
Trevor
Brooks.
Penning. Honestly, I'm calling my shot right now. Trevor Penning.
I mean, Trevor Penning wouldn't be weird enough, in my opinion. Like, like I don't know what. I mean, really, like Jordan Davis is really kind of the one.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
There's got to be Jermaine Johnson. Jermaine Johnson would be not weird, but.
Another Jordan that I hate.
Daxton Hill at 9,
Brooks,
like something like that.
Yeah. They could go. Let's watch him take a safety.
Anyways, moving on to the worst football team in the world, the Washington Commanders. Not really, but
come on, man.
They're the only professional sports team that is consistently being investigated by the
there you go.
So no, that's cool. We got that going for us. I actually love this all we got for the Commanders. It's great. If this happens on draft night, I'm loving it. So I did both of the picks. I kind of did it so that we all got to draft every pick for our teams. The 11th pick, and potentially the new favorite for this team at 11, supposedly it's getting leaked now. They love this guy, Drake London. If he's there, I don't know if he will be, because I think Atlanta also really likes him. I think it's a perfect fit with what they like. I know some people are lower on this guy because he doesn't really get separation. That's not true. He has great release package. He separates early on routes, I think, a lot, and you see that at a more intermediate level. It's just when he's downfield that you see more of those possession catches. But he is the type of player to do that, so that's fine. He's also got some yards after catch ability with his size, his power, his ability to kind of be fluid with his hips, and his footwork's good. Maybe not a blazer in terms of speed, but everything else, in my opinion, checks out. Big catch radius has always been a big thing for Carson Wentz. He loves these physical receivers. He's Michael Pittman. You're giving him basically the same receiver he had last year in Indianapolis, potentially. Or actually, not even just potentially, he definitely can be better than Michael Pittman. I think Pittman's ceiling is much more capped than Drake London's is. So that's great. And then at pick 47, although Lewis Cine was on the board and I like him more, I don't think there's a scenario where Lewis Cine and Cam Curl are on the field at the same time, because I literally think they're very similar players.
They're the same player, yeah.
So I grabbed Jaquan Brisker as a foil there, as a kind of different safety type. Although I also think he is more of a guy you want in the box a little more. I do think you could split them both deep at times. Brisker has more deep third ability than Lewis Cine does at this point, and that would give them a safety. They've been looking for one for a while, so that one makes sense to me. It was a value pick at that point.
Mm-hmm. All right, the Vikings are up now, and Donnie gave them a pick that I love, in Tyler Linderbaum, who might, I don't know, he might go this high again. I sound like a broken record. He's my favorite player in this draft. He's the best pure football player in this draft. And then Donnie and I both doubled up on corner. And Kyler Gordon at 46, where I picked, and then Donnie took Marcus Jones, the slot corner out of Houston, with that 77th overall pick. So they need help in the secondary, like really bad. And I think that 12th overall pick really could be a corner. I love the value of Linderbaum there, but like you could see a Trent McDuffie go there at 12, or another corner, like even Andrew Booth. I could see that being the 12th overall pick. They really need help at corner. Yeah, they really need help at corner. Honestly,
every pick's a corner.
I kind of want. I wish we got an edge in there for Minnesota, because I think they need an edge as well. But I don't hate the strategy of just doubling up on corner.
Is Danielle Hunter alive?
That's what I'm thinking. Like that's what I'm saying. Like I don't know if it's. I don't know if they should really.
He's alive enough.
Enough. Okay, sure.
Who's our other? I'm blanking right now.
David Smith.
Yeah, he's old though. I don't know. I kind of thought they'd get a developmental guy, maybe in the third round.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't know.
Get one in the fourth.
Yeah, they can get one in the fourth.
There's enough guys.
But yeah, he's a great linebacker. But I thought it was a pretty good haul for the Vikings, especially doubling up on their biggest position of need. Since I didn't take one, or Donnie didn't take one in the first round, I think it's smart to maybe double up on that, a valuable position in corner, and in the second and third round.
I still think Linderbaum goes higher than everyone believes he will, but
I hope so.
I really hope so.
I think that's the ceiling for him, where Donnie took him, though. I don't think he goes any higher than Minnesota.
Hey, let's not sleep on. No, that's a team. If Seattle picks him, it'd be a great pick for us, but the media would hate it. Yeah, that'd be interesting.
I would love Pete Carroll forever, and I'm not a big Pete Carroll fan, but if that happens, I would love Pete Carroll.
Yeah.
Let's just Rashad Penny it out right now, like Linderbaum, pick 9, let's go, Super Bowl baby.
That'd be fantastic. But no, anyway, so Ravens up next. I gave them Trent McDuffie, although he's not my CB3. It's Kyle Elam. I think Trent McDuffie's a better scheme fit, and also I think I'm starting to like McDuffie maybe a little bit more than Elam. It's close, man. I don't know. Like I love this cornerback class. It's so good, but at the end of the day, they need cornerback. It's probably their weakest position on the field. You lost a bunch of guys, and you're also losing some people at safety. Who did they lose? Chuck Clark, or did they lose Deshaun Elliott? They lost one of them.
I believe they lost Deshaun Elliott.
Okay, Chuck Clark's still there. Okay, so they lost Deshaun Elliott. So possibly put him at a couple of snaps at safety. I know you got Marcus Williams, but hey, this guy has the versatility to play safety, slot corner, and corner. So I'm not against it. Jordan Davis at pick 45. Nick gave him.
Yay!
Again, what we would do.
Yes. He could realistically be the 14th pick.
No, yeah, I would be shocked if he even falls that far at this rate. But yeah.
Yeah, but Yeah, so Jordan Davis, that's great value for my opinion. That's great value.
That's that's where I take him.
Yeah, like you're getting a rotational nose tackle who's, I mean, the biggest weakness I would say is stopping the run. I know you got Calais Campbell back, but you got to just bring this guy in, man. He's a freak. Like, I mean, Max has said it before, and I've said it a couple of times. He's the second most athletic football player we have seen since Kent Lee. Platt's been doing this since 1987, only behind Calvin Johnson, which is it's absurd. Max also gave them Tyler Smith at 76. I'm not a huge fan of Tyler Smith, but this is about the range where I would take him. And then this
is a Ravens pick too. Run blocking.
It is, yes.
I had better tackles on my board, but I wanted like a dominant.
Yeah, the scheme fit is nice. This is a guy you can kind of sit behind and possibly develop him. Maybe throw him in late in the season, kind of like Buffalo did with Spencer Brown. Yeah, Spencer Brown. Like he worked out, and none of us really liked him. So maybe it could happen again. And also a pretty good athlete as well. Quay Walker with the 100th pick. Patrick Queen isn't very good, so I'm not really against this pick, really. I think you're getting a pretty solid, maybe developmental linebacker you can kind of put behind and maybe eventually have him play a couple snaps for you here or there. But, yeah, they need linebacker. I feel like that's a very underrated need because Patrick Queen is truly not good.
Yeah, I like Josh Bynes, but Patrick Queen's got to show a lot more than he has so far.
Eagles are next. Boatload of picks. I took a linebacker. They probably aren't going to do that, and I don't even know that George Karlaftis is going to go this high either at 18. But I do think this is kind of going to be the idea with Philly. I've been mocking them receivers in the past. I think Jameson Williams might go higher than these picks actually, based on things that I've read/heard lately. But I do think they like him. I do think they might just lean defense and trust what they've done offensively, even though that I think they could upgrade. So I'm giving them Devin Lloyd and George Karlaftis to kind of reboot what is an older but solid front seven. They just need a little more younger talent to influx there. Pick 51, I took Khalil Shakir.
Love that.
Big fan of Khalil Shakir personally. Like I am way higher on Khalil Shakir. I think he's like number 5 on my board or something. I just think he is a twitched up slot receiver. He just lacks his speed. Actually, wasn't that bad. He ran a 4.43, so he doesn't have like elite speed. It's very good speed. Guy was a punt returner. To me, like Khalil Shakir kind of fits what I had Elijah Moore posted as last year in a weaker draft class. So he kind of fits in similarly on the overall board. Kirby Joseph is the pick that Donnie took for the Eagles at 83. Safety, play deep. They've had different safeties in that building. They can definitely upgrade on it. I like having a developmental guy there at 83 who can cover. And then pick 101, Donnie wanted a tight end. He took Jelani Woods, who great athlete. I don't know that I would take him this high, but the Eagles seem to be very good at developing tight ends. So if there's a team that's going to do it, I guess I wouldn't hate it as much as Philly did. But yes, obviously we've heard about, or you've seen Jelani Woods tested out of the building at the combine, and has an interesting ceiling as a tight end prospect. And they will be going back to the 2 tight end mold without Zach Ertz, so they do have a spot to fill there on their offense.
Yeah, and that's the main reason, and that's literally that. Sorry for interrupting you, Max, but that's literally the exact reason why I took him. Like, trust me, I've said it before. I hate this tight end class. I don't think it's very good. But if there's a team that's going to take Jelani Woods, and I think he can actually be like a superstar, it's Philly.
Yeah, most athletic tight end ever. Score a perfect 10 and then runs an athletic score, which is surprising when Kyle Pitts exists too. Khalil Shakir is my wide receiver 8 right now. The more I watch him, the more I love him.
Oh, wow.
Big fan of Khalil Shakir.
I think he's either my 7 or he might be my 6, actually.
Oh, my
wow.
God.
No, he's my 8. Never mind. I'm way off.
Okay, we're together.
Okay, I was about to say
I think we're probably
the
same 7, I think, above him. Or same 8, actually. Or
Dotson's,
same 7.
Dotson's my 7 right ahead of him.
Yeah, same. Okay. And then so I'm a huge fan of Khalil Shakir. I think he's a definite second round pick, if not like an early second round pick. All right, these Saints are up at 16. I had to do it. I mean, this is even like good value, I think. Sam Howell is my QB1. It's my QB1. I think this is a team I actually love for Sam Howell to go to, because as we saw when the North Carolina got a little bit depleted this past year, it was an issue. And, obviously they still need wide receiver, which is why Donnie took Jameson Williams at 19, which I love that as well. So if Michael Thomas ever comes back, I don't know if he will. If he does, he probably will play for another team. I love that. Sam Howell is good when he's on a good team. And I think the Saints are like a decent enough team with a decent enough offensive line. And they need help at receiver, but you got Jameson Williams in there. Like, Sam Howell could be average to above average starter, if not a good starter, I think, in the NFL. I think a ceiling is like a Dak Prescott type player, I think, in the NFL. And then I honestly think these first three picks were just home runs. The 49th pick, I love Lewis Seen, safety out of Georgia. Obviously, you know, I don't. This is unreal value. This is a guy who I think should be a first-round pick. And to get him out here at 49, you lose Marcus Williams, just plug Lewis Seen right in there. It'd be great. Cam Taylor-Britt at 98 is a guy I'm a lot lower on than I think the consensus, and I think Donnie is as well. I have like a day 3 range for him. I wasn't a huge fan of his tape, but they take him here at 98th to just bolster that secondary, which is smart.
Yep, agreed. Okay, so Chargers have 2 picks, and with the 17th pick, I give them Trevor Penning. Although I'm gonna be honest, I don't think he makes it there in the real draft. Like, I think the more I think about it, the Saints jumped him for a reason. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. Yeah. But in this ideal mock draft, Trevor Penning is the pick at 17. And although I guess this is a reach because I have him like 27 on my board, this is still a position you desperately need. Like, I agree with Max whenever he said Storm Norton is the reason why they lost to the Raiders. I completely agree with you. He was awful against Max Crosby. And then at pick 79, Max took John Mechie. I'm gonna be honest, this is probably my least favorite pick so far. I just don't like John Mechie, man. And there's the injury concern. Like, he tears his ACL. I don't really think he's that good at anything. Like, he's a decent separator. He's a whatever athlete. He has a drop problem. His hands aren't really that good. Like, I know drops are overrated, but even his hands aren't that good. Like, I don't know, man. This is a guy that the media kind of just wants to push up because he goes to Alabama, I feel like. But we just need to realize, like, I just don't think he's that good. Like, I don't even think he's in my top 110. Like, I think I'm like 113. Like,
yeah, I actually finalized my receiver rankings today. He was.
I have him wide receiver 19.
Yeah, I actually probably am around that range too. I have 18 right now. So there are a lot of receivers I wish, you know, we did this yesterday, like before I redid my wide receiver rankings. There are other guys. The reason why I took Mechie is because I think he's a really good slot receiver, and I think you could have Keenan, who I know plays in the slot a lot, but you have Keenan and you have Mike Williams and put John Mechie in the slot. Like, I don't know. I didn't hate that value there at 79 for the Chargers because I really think they only need, like, there are 2 big needs, or another receiver in that offense, and they need obviously a right tackle. And they could help at corner too, but still, that's why I was I didn't love any of the corners at 79, so that's why I took them there.
Josh Palmer, man. Josh
Palmer is fine. I don't know. I wanted to take another receiver there.
Josh, man.
That is around where I would take Mechie, by the way. I there are some things I like. I think he, after the catch, is very underrated. I think he's got some polish. Yeah. Not a freak athlete, but I think, you know, slot receiver. Yeah, like he's kind of going to be like a fine slot receiver.
Yeah. All right, my Steelers are up here at 20. This is a pick that I struggled with a lot. I was thinking about taking your quarterback here, and then honestly, the value is too good to pass up. Bernard Raymond, the offensive tackle for Central Michigan, who I love in this draft. He's my OT4, actually, in this class above Trevor Penning. He's got such an interesting story. You know, he's old, first of all. So, like, that's the thing that you have to keep in mind. He's 25 years old, but he's from Austria. He played 1 year of high school football. Then he went back to Austria, served 6 months in the Austrian military, then went to Central Michigan, and played tight end there and was 250 pounds. And then he gained like 60 or 70 or like 80 pounds at Central Michigan, played offensive tackle, and it was only his second year at offensive tackle, and he was like PFF's highest graded tackle in the country. So, like, yes, he's older, which is weird to see as a high ceiling. Is like, wait, he's already 25. But it's like, this guy's barely played the position of offensive tackle, and he's already been so good. So I'm a big fan of him. He's a crazy athlete. So Steelers desperately need help on the offensive line, especially at tackle. They should take Bernard Raymond if he's there. At 52, this is a go for it pick for me. Carson Strong was the only quarterback remaining. I was praying Desmond Ridder fell, but he was snatched right before this pick. Carson, by Nick, and I was very mad at that. But Carson Strong was a guy who I was like, you know what, the injuries, yes, but is there a way? Is there a scenario where he can become a starter in the NFL, maybe even like a decent starter? Sure. And I thought, you know what, the Steelers yeah, exactly. And the Steelers, who are a team that aren't like the Falcons, who are saying, you know what, yeah, we need a quarterback, but also we're going to suck next year. So let's not take one and wait till next year. Steelers going to be a good team next year. And they might be another playoff team. So again, it's like, all right, maybe it's worth taking a shot on Carson Strong here seeing what you can get. And then obviously if you have a first-round pick next year, spending on one of these quarterbacks, and hopefully will be a better quarterback class. And then Kingsley Enagbare, the edge from South Carolina, who is falling down a lot of boards. I remember people love this guy as a first-round pick. I got him here at 84. Not as good of an athlete as we thought he would be, but still he was a really good pass rusher in the SEC, and I think he's being a little bit slept on in this process. So Kingsley Enagbare to the Steelers. I kind of like this haul for the Steelers here.
Ron Raymond just feels like a Steelers pick.
Yeah, I love
People will hate that. People will hate it. People don't like Raymond as much as I've been told. Or as much as you like him, I guess. Like a lot of people I know.
20.
Yeah, a lot of people I know think he's like a mid-second. And like, I'm not the biggest fan of Raymond either, but like that's
definitely a lot of NFL polarization. Like people are high on him or not. Like it's kind of here or there. Patriots are next. I took a receiver at 21. They're not going to take a receiver at 21. I would like it if they did. I think that it's very clear to me that their issues last year were the lack of high-end offensive output from their weapons. Chris Olave would, in my opinion, give them not just a deep threat, but a reliable underneath target as well. I think he has the ability to expand his route tree and play from multiple positions, slotting on the outside. They just need receivers. Devontae Parker, to me, doesn't fix the problem, but I guarantee you Bill Belichick will think it does. But I think a Olave, Devontae Parker, Jacoby Myers, Nelson Aguilar, I don't know who else is there. Those the tight ends that they paid a bunch of money for, it could turn into something, but they're going to stick probably what they have. At 54, these next two picks I think very well could happen. Christian Harris at pick 54. Again, I've talked about him. Max, not as big a fan. I don't know if Donnie's kind of middling on him. I like him. I think he's a very good fit in terms of just replacing Dante Hightower in this defense eventually. I think he's just a similar player who's not as big. Like, I think that is almost what my comp would be, a smaller version of Dante Hightower, maybe a little more athletic. Bill Belichick will covet that, especially in the pass rush that comes with it. And then in 85, they traded away Shaq Mason. So although they have some guards to develop, I don't know they're definitely like super stacked there, and they are such a run-heavy team that I think they will want to make sure that their offensive line is good. And Dylan Parham, for me, is a late second-round guy. I love Dylan Parham. He's a good athlete. He fits perfectly in a gap scheme, which is what they run. And I think that this would be just tremendous value for a team who would continue to crank out the good offensive lines, and especially the run game.
Yeah, agree. Nick, I think you're up with the Packers.
Up again with the Packers. So Max went ahead with Nakobe Dean there with that first pick. The receivers just flew off the board. This is the first time I've really had that happen. And it was a tough spot for Green Bay. A lot of I think the top five were all gone by the time they picked. And weren't going to really take a Jahan Dotson or a Sky Moore or Khalil Shakir at pick 22. So he goes into Kobe Dean. I actually think this fit is awesome for them. They've been looking for like high upside at linebacker for years, and I think they partially haven't really been in a spot to take one, and they also just they've had other issues that they've been trying to fix. So now they kind of put themselves in the spot where they can take a Nakobe Dean and really add some coverage, maybe move back to more of those dime looks that they kind of used to play in the past, where Nakobe Dean kind of is a sort of defensive back in that scheme. And then 28, we go with George Pickens. This is a guy that I'm a little lower on just because I'm a little concerned about how much he played. I moved him up my board a little bit the other day, so I now have him as like an early second rounder. So this is fine to me. I do think he has that projectable ceiling that is similar to Devontae Adams. And if you're going to stick him in a spot to become that, you know what? Green Bay, you could do much worse with Aaron Rodgers throwing you the ball, as well as very good blocker. They covet that. So that fit makes sense. Then we go Donnie's at the next three picks. He took Zach Tom at 53. I think they need offensive line help. That might be debatable, but I really believe that they have had too many injuries at offensive line. They have a lot of guys who can play multiple positions. He's another guy who allows them to move it around when they have injuries. I think that pick is awesome. It's a little high for me. I'm not the biggest Zach Tom fan, but I think the fit team-wise makes a lot of sense. And then at 59, we got David Bell. Again, bit of a reach for me. Drop David Bell. Not a great athlete, but I like just trying to find receivers. So because of that, I'm going to take it. I hope the Packers are going to take two receivers by their fourth pick. I don't know that they will, but let's hope. And then 92, Tyreek Smith. They will be looking for edge help. I think they have some edge players in the building, but I'm not certain Preston Smith will be there forever. A team who does play 3-4, they look for outside linebacker types who are athletic and do a little more than just pass rush. And Tyreek Smith, I think, has that ability to be versatile and could fit into that scheme pretty well.
Yep, agreed. Also, the David Bell thing, it's a reach, and I knew that when I picked him, but the reason is because wide receiver is also just a position where I don't really care if you reach if you really do need it that much, and they do.
No, like if they want a certain type, like I don't know that they can really like worry about it too much because I think anybody's going to work with Aaron Rodgers, quite frankly.
Yeah.
That's
I don't hate just taking a shot. Yeah.
Yeah. Fair enough. But anyway, up next, my Cardinals. So with the 23rd pick, we gave them Trayvon Walker, which I can promise you right now is absolutely not happening.
No,
I can promise you it.
He's a lock for the top 3, I think.
I don't think he's a lock for the top 3.
I think he's a lock for top 5.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know, but we'll see what happens. But anyway, he'll be a minimum top 8 pick at this point, so he won't be there. But we took him in this scenario. Scheme fit is good enough, I guess, but also you just need pass rushers so bad. You lost Chandler Jones, Marcus Golden's okay, Devon Kennard is bad, but Marcus Golden's solid. So get another edge rusher. J.J. Watt's coming back, but he's probably going to play more interior, I'd imagine. So I do like that pick a lot. Pick 55, I gave them Darian Kennard. I think this is a slam dunk pick. You throw him in at right guard. I know you signed Will Anderson, or not Will Anderson. What's his name? Will Hernandez. Trust me, Will Hernandez is not good. He is awful. And thank goodness we got rid of Max Garcia because he's even worse. But I think this is a guy that you can just throw in a right tackle. Kyler Murray's been begging for us to draft an interior ever since we drafted him. And this is a guy that you'll get. And at this moment, you do need to make him happy because apparently he is not very happy with this organization, at least until he gets his money, which, I mean, he deserves it. But anyway, at pick 87, I gave them Jerron Ely. I think this is a perfect Chase Edmonds replacement. Obviously, Chase Edmonds went to the Dolphins. You re-signed James Conner. You kind of need a smaller receiving back who can also play a good amount of downs for you. And I'm higher on Jerron Ely than most people. I have him as my RB4. So I think if you're getting RB4 in the 3rd round, I think that's great value. And this probably isn't going to happen because Steve Keim doesn't know how to draft. But, hey, let's just hope he does something good.
I'm a big fan of Jerron Ely. I know a lot of people have him like a 7th round pick because of how small he is, but he was just dominant at Ole Miss in the SEC.
He's like 1 inch smaller than Kenneth Walker. Can we just talk about that?
Is he?
Kenneth Walker's 5'9" and Jerron Ely is 5'8".
Walker's 5'10". Yeah, he's 1 inch smaller. Yeah, he's 5'9", 5'10". Yeah. So yeah, I don't hate it. Yeah, and also the weight. I know Walker is 210. And
Walker's
185. Yeah, so he's definitely like a scat back a little bit, but he was dominant in the SEC at Ole Miss.
Yeah, so. And I'm fine with that. Like that's kind of like what Chase Edmonds was when he first got there. Yeah, and we need that kind of guy. Like we have the big power. We have the big power Connor, and now we need this guy. Because I hate to break it to you, even though I love James Conner and he was sick last year, he's not a guy who can be a bell cow guy constantly giving touches. Like you need to get another guy.
Right. All right. Cowboys up here at 24. So Jermaine Johnson, another guy who I think very well could go in the top 10. He falls here at 24. We're all, I think, a little bit lower than the consensus on him. The Cowboys could use help at edge defender. They lost Randy Gregory. They still have DeMarcus Lawrence there. They have Michael Parsons who could play edge as well. But I like Jermaine Johnson. He's a really good run defender, I think. You know, there are some things to fix up as a pass rusher, but overall, I think he's definitely a first-round pick. I love this pick at 56. So they need linebackers, and I made this pick. Yeah, they do. They need linebackers. Leighton Vander Esch is not. I think he's going to be out the door very soon. So you can use another guy with Michael Parsons, who I think, you know, if the Cowboys are smart, they'll keep using him as their edge defender. And, you know, when you're doing that, you got to have a true linebacker. And there's Leo Chanel at 56, who I think could be a early 2nd round pick, if not a mid 2nd round pick. So getting him at the back end of the 2nd round, that was great value for them. And he's the best run defender in the draft at linebacker. And he's one of the most athletic in the draft. And he's one of the best blitzers in the draft as well. So in coverage, not as great, but he is just a menace. Like he played there were some times where he played nose tackle at Wisconsin and he was winning like at nose tackle. Like that's how powerful of a guy he is. Sean Ryan, the Cowboys need help on the offensive line. Didn't do it with the first 2 picks, but I think Sean Ryan will be a good pick here at 88, who I think could play tackle and guard in the league. And I don't hate his tape at all. So I think that's right around where I take him and it definitely fits the needs. So Sean Ryan at 88 to the Cowboys. So pretty good haul for like Dallas.
Up next is the Buffalo Bills, and they have 3 picks, and we all had 1 pick for them, so this should be interesting. So Max gave them Devontae Wyatt in round 1. Don't hate it at all. You need some defensive tackles. Ed Oliver, so he's okay. He's not really what he could be, I guess. I don't know. Like I had high expectations for Ed Oliver. I had him as a blue chip prospect back in 2019, and he just really hasn't lived up to it that much. Sorry, I have to pull up the mock draft. I just lost it. Where is it? There it is. With the other pick, they took Breece Hall, which is probably... Listen, I'm high on Breece Hall. I would take him arguably high second round, maybe even late first round. I'm in love with Breece Hall, and I think this is great value for him. This is my highest rated running back since 2018, Saquon Barkley. You need running back, even though they don't really like to use them. I know that you have Zach Moss and Devin Singletary. Neither of them are very good. I think you can get a true bell cow guy with Breece Hall, who also tested as a 99.6 percentile athlete. So he's athletic. He's produced insanely. His traits are good. I'm in love with him. I think he's amazing. And then this is a guy who I don't really like. Tarkeek Woolen at pick 89. I've said multiple times I don't think he should be a day 2 pick. But if there's any team that's going to take him in day 2 that I think you can develop him insanely well, I think it's Buffalo. You're looking at a very, very high ceiling with him. His technique and hips are non-existent, but the athleticism is unbelievable, and the size is also unbelievable. I mean, come on, he's 6'4" and he ran a 4.2.
Yeah, Tariq Woolen's a freak.
Yeah, I actually love the thought process here with Tariq Woolen and Jelani Woods from Donnie. It's not even really one that I thought of initially. I did think of the Woolen one when I was, pondering it last night. Of course, I just thought of the Jelani thing right now as we're talking about the Eagles, but putting them in scenarios where they could thrive is brilliant. Donnie, actually, a big fan of both of those now that I think about it. Titans, weird draft because they traded their second for Julio Jones, and I don't really know, I don't know. It's just weird with Ryan Tannehill. What are we doing to make this team a Super Bowl contender? I don't, maybe they're kind of there. They were the 1 seed last year, but also it's kind of because they're in the AFC South and play a bunch of bad teams, but we started by giving them Kyrie Elam, that Donnie's pick. Good value there. We both, I think, are higher than I think all of us are higher than the consensus on Kyrie Elam, who didn't have a great year, but we're kind of just like, he was great years before that, and corners, you can kind of have a bad year and it's whatever. He's, has shown out that he can be, I think, what you look for in an NFL cornerback, especially a guy who has traits that are tough to find. The Titans are still looking for answers. Caleb Farley, question mark, I think, certainly right now in that defense, although they did add Elijah Molden. And then at pick 90, I gave them Nicholas Petit-Frere. I'm actually a little higher than him at this pick. I actually have this as a value pick. I haven't completely fallen off with him. I know Aiden Hutchinson killed his value, and everyone's been taking his draft stock since then, but outside of that, I think outside of that, he's been fine. And I know Hutchinson killed him. I think that maybe his tape in that game is being completely ignored because of how well Hutchinson played. I think it's possible for a tackle to play fine and just be outplayed by a guy who's on at their best in that scenario. And I would still certainly take this guy in the 3rd round. And if the Titans are looking for a right tackle, and Dylan Radins, I know they invested a pick in last year. Didn't play much last year, and he might be a center. They could definitely stick Petit-Frere on the outside. I don't have his measurables in front of me right now, but there's a chance that he could, if they like his size-wise. Let's see, what do we have him at? He's at about 6'5", 316, so he's a little tall, but he probably could end up playing guard too. Not completely out of the possibility also, as a team who just relies on that offensive line with Derrick Henry.
Yeah. All right, Buccaneers up here at 27. So Zion Johnson, who has been mocked to them forever.
Oh, it's such a good scheme fit.
It's such a good scheme fit. It reminds me so much of the Tristan Wirfs pick, where it's Tom Brady's gonna love that guy. You knew immediately. They picked Tristan Wirfs, Tom Brady's gonna love him. Zion Johnson, Tom Brady's gonna love him. You lose Ali Marpet, who just retired. You brought Shaq Mason, which I thought was a very, very good trade for Tampa Bay. So Shaq Mason and Zion Johnson, there we go. There's your interior offensive line right there, which is phenomenal. At 60, Kenneth Walker III. Nick took to Tampa Bay. I don't hate that either. I think a late 2nd round range is where I would take Breece Hall and Kenneth Walker III. And
Brady throwing him passes, though.
Yeah, and he hasn't shown much as a receiver yet, but I think there is something there. I think that there could be.
He showed it he showed it a little bit at the combine. I know that doesn't mean much. I know he doesn't mean much, but he showed it a little.
Yeah, it was the reason why I had Breece Hall above him is because Breece Hall's actually proved before. But Leonard Fournette, they have there as well. So I kind of like that. Kenneth Walker III and Leonard Fournette there. That'll be fun. And then Perion Winfrey, they need a D tackle so badly. So I took him here at 91. I think it's a great value for them at 91. Perion Winfrey, who I think could be an early 3rd round pick. So getting him in the late 3rd round would be really good. I like Winfrey a lot. I think he was really good at the Senior Bowl and was not a great run defender at all. One of the worst run defenders I would say that I've scouted so far at D tackle. But as a pass rusher, there's a lot there, and I think that's what you're probably going to lose Ndamukong Suh. So, getting Perry Winfrey in there would be smart.
When you have Vita Vea and Levante David, it really doesn't matter what your run defense is. Like, I'm just going to be honest. Up next, Kansas City. This is my favorite. I'm going to go ahead and say it. This is my favorite player to scheme fit in this entire draft. Christian Watson of the Chiefs at 29. If there is any team that is going to unlock that potential of Christian Watson, which I would argue top 5, maybe top 3 receiver in the league, it's going to be Andy Reid, and it's going to be Patrick Mahomes. If anyone's going to do it, it's going to be the best quarterback and head coach offense dynamic duo we've ever seen. It's going to be them. And you guys know I'm also extremely high on Christian Watson. I've said this multiple times. I think he's... Yeah, well, now you do. Nick took Travis Jones at 30, which I'm going to be honest, I mean, it's fine. It's good value. They do need some run defense, but I'm not the biggest fan of it. I think you really need to get a pass rusher because the pass rushing is just not good. Frank Clark is not good. What's his name? Oh my goodness, blank. Chris Jones. Chris Jones is the only pass rusher on that team that I actually trust. But at the end of the day, like, you do need to have some type of run defense. I think Travis Jones can be that guy. But I ended up taking Myjai Sanders at pick 50, which I think is a slam dunk A+ pick. I love Myjai Sanders. I have an early second-round grade on him. I know there's the weight concerns that happened at the Combine. He got sick. He went to his pro day, and he weighed at 250 pounds. I think he's good. I do believe that he was sick. I think he's good now. He's still tested as a great athlete. He has good tape. He had arguably one of his best games against Alabama. I'm in. I'm all in for Myjai Sanders at pick 50. At pick 62, I gave them Damian Pierce, running back out of Florida. I think you need a power back because Clyde Edwards-Helaire has not worked whatsoever. I think he's been clearly outperformed by the other top running backs from that draft. Obviously, Jonathan Taylor. I think J.K. Dobbins is better than him, even with his injury. And I think DeAndre Swift is also better than him. I think you can also name maybe a couple other running backs. Cam Akers, I would also say.
Antonio Gibson.
Yeah, Antonio Gibson. There's a good amount of running backs in that draft that just outperformed him. So shout out Patrick Mahomes for wanting to draft him. Don't do that. Don't do that again. Chiefs at 94. Tarkik Castro Fields. I mean, this is a good pick. I'm not the biggest fan of it. I know Max likes him a lot more than me, but you need to improve that secondary. And this is a guy who won't really improve it right away, but down the line could be a pretty good player for you. And then Max also took Kobe Bryant at pick 103. This is a guy with just insane ball skills and absolutely nothing else. I don't think his coverage is that good, but he has some of the best ball skills in this class. Won the what's it called? The Jim Thorpe. Yeah, he won the
which is a sham.
Won the Jim Thorpe Award, which clearly means he's the best corner in this draft, obviously. So
better than over Sauce was just
over his teammate. Dude, how do you think Sauce felt? How do you think Sauce felt?
This was a terrible look for award voters this year. I mean, Jordan Davis winning every award he possibly could was awful, and then that Jim Thorpe award was a head scratcher to me. But I like they got to get bodies, which is why I took 2 straight corners.
Yeah, and that's fine. No, that's fine. Like, I'm not slandering these picks. These are good picks. Like, you got to improve that secondary. You lost Charvarius Ward, and the only corner you really have on that team that I trust is L'Jarius Sneed, and he is a slot. So you got to improve that secondary. I would expect them to draft a guy possibly in the second round, which we didn't do, but
which is why I doubled up.
Which is why you doubled up, which is smart. But these are 2 guys where it just need some development, and they could be very, very special down the line, especially with how good Kobe Bryant's ball skills are. But I think once again, I mean, the Chiefs know how to draft, so I expect them to I just want to get off topic real quick. A lot of people have been questioning the Chiefs, like, I don't think they're going to be as good. Like, they lost Tyreek Hill. I trust them, man. Like, this is this is an organization I trust. I trust Andy Reid. I trust the Hunt family. I trust everyone. I trust, of course, I trust Patrick Mahomes. Are you kidding me? It's Patrick Mahomes. So
they're very much still a contender.
Yes, they are completely fine. And while they're not Super Bowl favorites, I still think I would put them top 3 in Super Bowl favorites, at least in the AFC.
Yep.
AFC, I'd say they're top 3.
Yep.
Bengals are next. Another team who's probably going to be in that mix. Again, another team that we all put our fingerprints on here. Each of us had a pick. First one was Max, who took Nick Benito, the edge from Oklahoma, who he is very high on. I don't hate this fit, actually.
I had no idea.
A little high, maybe.
He's like Christian Watson.
I have some question marks about, what exactly you plan for him is. I think that specifically on this team, like you kind of have your two power edge rushers. You just bring him in as a third edge rusher. Like you play 3 edge guys, and you just blitz him for random spots. And he's an athlete, and you just say go get the QB, and he could do it. The Bengals need help getting the QB, and because they need help getting the QB, we go again and we take Logan Hall with pick 63. That was my selection. At this point, it was a value for me. Logan Hall, like Ed Oliver, like Peyton Turner, another one of these long, multi-positional defensive lineman coming out of Houston. I think maybe getting a little bit slept on in this year's draft because he is a great athlete, and he has some production, and you can see just kind of the explosiveness off the ball from him in Houston in his tape. I think that is a great ad for them, a team and Nick Bonito to jack up that pass rush a little bit. And then Donnie adds Kyle Phillips, a guy who we really haven't talked about on this show at all yet. The Bengals, it's interesting. I don't know if they could be looking for more receivers, but they certainly, I guess, could use a little bit more depth here, as important as that position is. Kyle Phillips is just like your slot receiver. Like, he is just the slot receiver. He does slot receiver things. He does them well. I don't really know how else to explain it. He's got great feet. He's quick. He's got good hands. He separates within 5 yards, catches the ball, turns upfield, and gives you a little bit of juice and burst after the catch. I think he's a very high floor receiver prospect. This is around the range, actually. I mean, I might be a little bit more like early 4th on him. He's picked 95th, but you know what? I think it could work for them.
Tyler Boyd will not be a Bengal next year. That's why I took him.
That's interesting. Yeah.
I do not think if you take a look at his contract, they have a potential outing next year, and I think they take it because
you're gonna pay Burrow.
Yes, you're gonna pay Burrow, pay Higgins, and pay Chase. I know Chase isn't for a while, but Chase is gonna ask for the big bucks, and so will T. Higgins, and so will Burrow. Like, I don't think Tyler Boyd will be a Cincinnati Bengal after this next season.
I can't wait for that contract negotiation between Burrow and Herbert, because I know the whole debate has been who's better, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert. I think most people will say Justin Herbert, but like I think they're going to play a game of chicken with themselves and say, you know what,
whoever pays first is the smarter one. That's what I will say.
Whatever team pays first, the quarterback will be the smarter one to wait until he says, "All right, just Herbert got that. I want more." I think that's going to be very, very, because right now they have been. I think they're really
overpay. That's what I've been saying. People, and I hate to make this about Washington every time, but we're having this receiver game right now. Debo, AJ Brown, Terry, they're all kind of give us a contract. And people are like, "Oh, Terry's going to get $21 million from Washington." Like, no, give him 24, like right now. Like, it's in the long term, like not much more money, and you need to overpay to get these guys in the building. Like, do it now.
And dude, honestly, quarterbacks who came in overpay at this rate, like they're getting, even the highest paid ones are getting underpaid. Like, they're worth more than.
I was on record, and I have multiple clips of me saying that Patrick Mahomes was underpaid, and now it's showing. It is absolutely
even
showing.
Aaron Rodgers, like, dude, the value that he brings is more than $50 million a year. I can promise you that.
Yes.
So yeah, I cannot wait for that negotiation. All right, Bears. Finally, the Bears have a 39th overall pick in the draft. Arnold Ebiketie, I love this pick for the Bears. Guy who might end up being a first round pick. A lot of people are higher on him. I think they have bigger needs at receiver, O-line, and corner, but this is a good value for them at edge for try to replace Khalil Mack. Kenyon Green, another guy. I love this for the interior offensive line. At 48, he's a guy who was a first-round pick, even for a lot of people, still a first-round pick. Which I don't know. I'm lower. I'm lower on him, and I think this is around the range where I take him. And for the Bears, who desperately need help on the offensive line, it's a good pick for them. Romeo Doubs is a guy I'm a lot lower on than I think the consensus is, but I think around 71 is okay. I actually have a wide receiver 20 right now. I'm a lot lower on Romeo Doubs than a lot of other people have, but I think 71 is like okay range for him. I probably will have like a 4th round grade on him, but this is okay for him. So
they just need a receiver, man. They just need a receiver. Like, and there were better receivers there. I admit that, but they were all slot receivers. Yeah. And I don't think you need a slot receiver when you have Darnell Mooney. So, and I know Romeo. I don't know.
I agree.
I don't know. It's just, I don't know. It was the best game fit in my opinion.
No, it makes sense.
Yeah. I'm up. So I have the Colts up next, and I did not make either of these picks. Both of them make these picks, so time to criticize them. No, I'm kidding. That's not that bad. So Desmond Ridder at 42 was Nick's pick. I think this is a solid pick. Matt Ryan isn't going to be there forever, and I honestly don't think Matt Ryan is really that good. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Desmond Ridder takes over at some point in year one. So I like to pick a lot. We've been saying this for a while. He's one of the smartest quarterbacks in this draft. He's probably the second most stay ready behind Kenny Pickett. Mm-hmm. But I'd also argue his ceiling is probably higher than Kenny Pickett as well because of how much of a better athlete he is. And then Max took Justin Ross at 73. I think this is about the range I'd probably take him. I mean, once again, you're taking another swing for the fence with this guy. Like, is he going to be freshman Justin Ross that we saw? Like, was it his fault that he wasn't good last year? Or was it because DJ Uiagalelei is awful? Or is he healthy? Like, there's a lot of question marks with him, but we've had players like this in the past. One that comes to mind is Trey Smith. Trey Smith had all these questions, and then last year he was a 7th-round pick and was the biggest steal I have ever seen in a draft in a long time. So you're taking a swing for the fence for Justin Ross, and it could work out, especially for a team that needs a wide receiver, and I wouldn't be surprised if this guy gets a large amount of playing time year one.
And I honestly, I didn't put this together. Like, he might be like the Stingley of wide receivers to like a way lesser extent, because his freshman year with Lawrence, when they were freshmen together, honestly, so it's been a long time ago. But he was like the best receiver in the country, argue, as a true freshman. Like, wow, this guy and Trevor Lawrence are going to be like neck and neck.
Yeah, to people that don't go ahead.
No, and I was just going to say, like, and then injuries have just killed him, and way more serious injuries than Stingley ever had. Spinal stuff. Like, he had career threatening injuries, and then tested out terribly at the combine.
Injuries.
Very scary injuries. But he came back and played, which is very commendable. Wasn't nearly the receiver that we saw in 2018, but honestly in 2019, even before we found out about the spinal stuff, he wasn't that great either. So,
but he wasn't bad.
No, but it was his show in 2018.
Yeah. Higgins was better. Yeah, I agree. But I feel like that season gets a little underrated because people will say like, oh, he was a freshman and then nothing. Like, no, he was still fine. He wasn't great, but he was fine
this year.
He still would have been an easy first round.
DJ is bad.
DJ is
he's gonna get benched. Kate Klubnik will be the quarterback within 4 weeks, just like Kelly Bryant.
I don't know if any of you guys
want DJ to succeed, but
I don't know if any of you guys are people watching or tapos. Like, we're all tape junkies. We're all huge fans of tape. I watched that Clemson spring game in all 22 because I got access to it. DJ Uiagalelei is awful, and it makes me sad because I loved him. I thought he was great as a freshman. His mechanics are just awful. Like, he doesn't use his legs. He doesn't.
No, he relies solely on his arm. Yeah.
It's like, you think Josh Allen's mechanics were bad at Wyoming? You should just go watch DJ's because they're worse.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so we said earlier the Seahawks draft was awesome. Here's my other draft that I think gets an absolute A+. The Browns just got value at every pick. So Sky Moore, for me, who is now a top 32 player on my draft board, is just, I think, one of the high floor receivers in this draft class. We talked about his elite acceleration. His production at Western Michigan was unreal. This is like what Dwayne Eskridge was thought of to be by NFL people, and Sky Moore is that. I think he's just an absolute threat downfield, and gives teams just an extra element as a deep threat, but also is just a good slot receiver as well, and a guy you could put the ball in his hands, I think, on jet sweeps and stuff and see what he could do. This is, I called someone else earlier in this video, I forget, a kind of Elijah Moore type. This is another one. This is kind of in that mold of those slot receivers who can do a lot for you. And I think the Browns obviously need more receiver help after losing what they've lost. 78, then Drake Jackson, who have a high third-round pick. The Browns need edge help. This guy could potentially be a day one starter here at 78 and an impact day one starter for them at pick 78. That's just a speedy, athletic edge rusher who produced at college here his last year, more than we thought he did. And he moved up, I think, our boards. We were a little lower him to start. Ends up being a guy that we are looking at on day two as a guy who will, I think, be a starter or an impact player day one for whoever takes him. And at pick 78, that's huge for a Browns team that needs more edge help. And then again at pick 99, in my opinion, another impact starter at pick 99 this draft, because I like Donovan West. I think I have him as a top 90. Like, he's a little bit higher on this board than me, but I love him as a center in this draft class. I think he's athletic. I think he's big for a center. I think he just looks like he's going to translate to the NFL, and just in terms of his balance, his power, and his combination combination kind of as a mover in the run game and his ability to kind of slide in the passing game. And they lost J.C. Treader. They need a starting center. They already have a lot of offensive lineman talent around him. I think adding Weston as a center puts him in a great situation day one to succeed and help that run game continue to chug along.
Yeah, I love that. 49ers up here. First pick at 61 for the 49ers. Right at the end of the second round. Yeah. Martin Emerson, who I think has been slept on a lot in this pre-draft process. I have him as like probably a second-round pick, and the 49ers definitely need help at corner. So this is a really good pick for them. Put him in a press scheme. I know Saleh isn't there anymore, and they ran a lot of press with him, but I actually don't know how much press they ran this year. But I think Martin Emerson, if you want to get back to that press coverage, like he will be a guy that you need in that press game. I like that fit a lot in San Francisco. And then Nick took Isaiah Likely, which I kind of like this fit here. Kyle Shanahan will know what to do with Isaiah Likely. And you need, I don't want to say need, because you obviously have George Kittle, but like a backup tight end, George Kittle, like another guy in there. I like that. And kind of like a slot tight end where Kittle can be more inline. I like that a lot. And I think that, Isaiah Likely tested worse than we expected from him, but he was a really, really productive, like probably the most productive tight end that we've seen in this draft. Like he was phenomenal at Coastal Carolina. And then at 105, Nick again took Phidarian Mathis to just bolster that defensive line even more. I like Phidarian Mathis a lot. He's another guy who, I probably will have like in the third round range. So this is probably good value for him as well. But Phidarian Mathis is just, a really good run defender, could stand to improve a little bit as a pass rusher. Didn't have a great Senior Bowl, but I like that value a lot at 105 for the 49ers.
Yeah, Isaiah Likely with Kyle Shanahan as a Cardinal fan gives me very, very terrifying thoughts.
Yes.
That would be horrifying. So Broncos at 64, no first-round pick. Thank you, Russell Wilson. So Troy Anderson, I think, might be this best pick out of any team in this whole draft. I think this is such a slam dunk pick. You need linebacker Alexander Johnson. I have question marks about. Josie Jewell was fine.
He was good this year, though.
He was good, but he's not a coverage linebacker or anything like that. And I think Troy Anderson's ceiling as a linebacker is higher than any linebackers in this draft. And if anybody's going to develop him, actually, I guess Fangio isn't there, is he? But either way, like you have good talent around him. I think you bring in this guy who tested as a 100 percentile athlete, and I don't think he's going to start day one. But this is a guy who a couple years down the line could be one of the best linebackers in the league.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what we're talking about with this guy. Like, he's just unbelievable. And also, the play recognition is absurd because he was a quarterback.
Too. Yeah.
He played running back, too?
Yeah, a little bit. I think
what did this guy do?
He used to play a little too much. I was put him in a Wildcat a couple times. I won't hate
Why
that.
not? This guy played everything, I guess. And then Nick gave him Trey McBride at 75. Love this a lot. You lost Noah Fant. I know they have another tight end who I'm not even going to try to pronounce that name, but they have another tight end in there who I do like a lot. What?
Albert O. That's what everyone calls him. Because no one wants to try that.
Yeah.
Bunam, I think is how you say it. Bunam.
I'm not even going to try. But...
Bunam.
Yeah. I'm not going to try. But anyway, Trey McBride, this is a guy who, honestly, you can probably just throw in right away, and he's probably just going to be solid. Like, he'll be good. And, yeah. I mean, this is a team that just doesn't have a lot of picks because I think, honestly, and also, when you're talking about Denver, this roster's pretty good. Like this is a really, really good roster, and it's just crazy to me that people are sleeping on them. Like the amount of people that tell me, "Oh, the Raiders are better than them," or "Oh, this team is better." And thank you, Max, thank you. The Raiders are not better than the Broncos. That is such an awful take. I'm sorry. Like in my opinion, the three most important things for a team, they are significantly worse than in all of them: worst quarterback, worst offensive line, and much worse play calling and coach. So. Yeah, I think the Broncos, if everything goes well, for them, I mean, you could possibly look at a Super Bowl contender.
Yeah, you definitely could. You get tight end 1 at 75, too, which is good value.
Great.
And then
and then there's one more pick. Yep, I didn't even see it. Pick 96. Nick gave them Josh Pascal, which, looking at it now, that's actually really good value. You lost Von Miller. I know you brought in Randy Gregory, but there's a saying that I've been saying for the longest time, you can never have too many pass rushers. Look at the Steelers. Look at Buffalo. Look at Baltimore. You can never have too many pass rushers. Pass rushers win in defenses nowadays. So you're getting a guy who I think you can throw in right away, and he'll be good for you. So also, apparently NFL teams love him, by the way.
Yeah, so he might be a second-round pick, honestly.
Yeah, he legit might be a second-round pick, which I'd be against it, but
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm a fan of Josh Pascal though. He's good.
I like Josh Pascal, so I won't be like, oh my gosh, this pick is awful. Like, no, he's a good player.
All right, we're into the depths of this video where we just have teams with one pick in the third round. So we'll start with the Raiders. Pick 86 is their first pick and only pick in the first 2 days. I have them taking safety Nick Cross, which just feels like an Al Davis Raiders pick, right? We get just a super athletic safety on the back end, combined with Trevon Merrick to make the Merriam secondary tandem my guys.
And Diablo at linebacker.
And with Diablo at linebacker, like we're just flying around.
I love it.
All sorts of crazy athletes in the middle of that defense. Haven't quite figured out corner yet, but dude, come on, Nick.
Nate Hobbs is good enough.
Yeah, Nate Hobbs is sick. I mean,
hopefully he stays out of trouble, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Well, and the
whole team.
This was a value for me at this point. Again, like I said, I have a late or an early third round grade on him, so this was a value at this point, and I think they will take any secondary help that they can get. Still, as it has been for like 25 years.
Yes, and the Miami Dolphins are up here at 102, and Nick took for them Tyler Algier, the running back
king
out of BYU. I'm a fan of Tyler Algier. I might have gone receiver or offensive line, but still, Tyler Algier is, I think, my running back 4 in this draft, I want to say.
I have him RB5.
RB4, so yeah, he is RB4 for me. So good athlete, amazing runner. I mean, he just breaks a lot of tackles. Really good receiver as well. And honestly, if you want to, we talk all the time like the best play by whoever. The best play by maybe any prospect in this draft is Tyler Algier forcing that fumble against Arizona State. I want to say it was, where the quarterback threw one of the worst picks that I've ever seen. Easy pick 6, and Algier comes up behind him and punches it out. Jumping up, instead of going under, he goes over and punches it out, and BYU gets the ball back. Unreal play from Tyler Algier. You should look it up. It was a phenomenal play by him. So I don't know. I like this pick for Miami. Needs a running back, and at 102, like this is pretty decent range for Algier.
Him and Chase Edmonds are going to have a lot of fun.
Yeah,
and Chase Edmonds will have
a lot of fun. Yeah,
Mike
McDaniels will make them look good, but unfortunately, he does not have Trent Williams on that offensive line. Rams at 104. They won the Super Bowl, so they have no picks for the 12th year in a row.
They bought a Super Bowl, which is why they have no picks.
They did buy a Super Bowl, which honestly, listen, man, I think we'd all buy a Super Bowl.
It worked. It worked.
Yeah, it worked, so good for them. But we'll see if they can do it again. But at pick 104, I decided to go with a high ceiling developmental corner because that's a position they need, and that's Jalen Armour-Davis, a guy who we really haven't talked about on this podcast that much. But this is a guy who's Nick said in our group chat, and I just laughed out loud because I thought it was just so true and hilarious. He's a better run defender than he is cover player.
Yeah.
Which, it's true. Like, he's not wrong. But, I mean, the athleticism is there. The size is there. And I think if he's going to go anywhere and work, I mean, hey, man, I would also, if I was a corner, I would love to hear tips from Jalen Ramsey. So,
yeah.
I think
the Jalen's.
Yeah. The Jalen's, yeah. Also, let's be honest, it doesn't matter what pick they have here because the Rams don't know how to draft and they don't need players anyway.
As long as it's not Tutu Atwell, I think it's a good pick for the Rams.
They might trade this pick, to be honest.
He did not play one offensive snap. Let's just talk about that for just 1 second. Tutu Atwell was a second-round pick and didn't play one offensive snap.
Garbage. Him and Calvin Joseph got in some trouble too. He barely played it off for count. But there were some head scratchers in last year's second round.
Ernest Jones. That's
Jalen Armour-Davis though is CB3 for Chris Sims. So CB3 at 104, Donnie. That is the steal of the draft right there, my friend. So it's like getting
people hated on me when I called out Chris Sims for having clickbait stuff.
I don't like calling out other analysts too much, but yeah, that was. Well,
I think he knows what he's talking about. He was a former quarterback. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
But
he's had some good wins. Josh Allen.
A lot of his stuff is kind of clickbaity. I think he can agree with
some of it. Some of it is. But yeah, he's got some interesting rankings for sure. I think he's got Matt Corral QB1 too, which is big for you guys.
Okay, you know what? Everything's fixed.
Back on the train.
All right, that's what we got for our 3-round mock draft. A very, very long video, so we appreciate all of you guys who stayed to the end. We did obviously every single team, which is really cool. First time we've ever done that. So please like, subscribe,
First time we've
follow us.
Never done the Rams at all, honestly.
Yeah.
It was good talking about that for a change, honestly. But subscribe, like, and comment, and please comment below like any hot takes you have. That's our next video.
Yeah. So
reacting.
Yeah, so I'll go and talk about it real quick. So next video, we're going to be doing draft hot takes. So please let us know in the comments, maybe DM any of us, or go to the Boomer Bus Twitter and comment them, or tag us in any. Like, please let us know. Like, we want to know your hot takes. Like, we're really interested to see what you guys have to think. Yeah, like anything. Like, it could be as spicy as possible. You have Jermaine Johnson edge one? Let us know.
Dude,
like,
I have
just let us know.
I'm down to Carolina Reaper before I can take it.
We should come up with our own too. We should we should read off some of the hot takes and react to them, and then we just bring in like 3 that we have.
I'm down for that.
Although like I know like some of them we probably already know already, but yeah.
There's a couple you don't know.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what we got. So comment below, follow us Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at Boomer Bust Draft. That's what we got. And remember, we have a live draft show. Nick and Donnie will be hosting it. For at least day 1 of the draft. We haven't really gotten down what we're going to do Friday or Saturday. I don't know what their plans are, but I unfortunately won't be a part of it, but it'll still be a phenomenal show. And while I'm at PFF, I will be tuning in and not watching the PFF draft show. Just
he hates us.
Hopefully no PFF person got to hour and 45 minutes into this video and heard that, but I will be watching that. I can't wait to watch you guys on that, and I'll be texting you my takes during it. But I can't wait for that, and make sure you guys subscribe so you do not miss that. So for Nick, Merriam, and Donny Clemons, I'm Max Chadwick. Have a great night.